Tide Talk with Webb is back, baby. Let's get back into it. All right. We had this week at Alabama linebacker Keith Holcomb had surgery to repair his labrum that got torn for this upcoming season. He was quoted as saying he had to make sure that things get taken care of so he's ready for August. We also had Sean Deion Hamilton. He had another interior crucial, torn anterior crucial ligament, so he's having surgery as well. So those guys are not 100%, but they should come back for the fall. I saw a really cool article this week, guys, about Barry Switzer. If y'all remember, he was the really great Oklahoma and Dallas Cowboys coach. He was asked about the talent at Alabama, why Alabama wins so much. He said Alabama has as many called names during the NFL draft as the entire Big 12 conference. Basically asked him why is that, and he goes, well, a lot of the Big 12 teams don't recruit as well as Alabama. He said, someone said Alabama versus the Big 12, they had more NFL choices in the first 3 rounds. He said, well, they don't get as much talent all around as Alabama does. And he's quoted as saying, I'm not saying Alabama coaches aren't good. Damn right they're good, but they get to coach good players. They just don't recruit the good players at schools in the Big 12. The only schools that really do are Texas, which is down, and Oklahoma, and they beat teams they're supposed to beat, but they haven't beaten the ones as good as they are. That's the difference. And so you got to remember, too, that Alabama had 10 overall players taken, including 7 in the first 2 rounds, 9 of the first 79 picks. That's amazing. That's absolutely phenomenal. So basically we got a semi-pro roster at Alabama. The Tide became the first team in NFL history to draft 7 players selected during the first 55 picks of the draft, and the first with 9 players chosen during the first 80 picks. That is phenomenal. I mean, you've just got NFL after NFL talent backing up NFL talent. I mean, that's sick. That's why we go in there and dominate teams. Also, Saban's an amazing coach. Can't take that away, but he is recruiting absolutely phenomenal talent. I was watching a thing this week. Colin Cowturd, he's at it again. You know, we all know he hates Alabama. We all know he's a little hack. He's always trying to get clickbait stories or get people to listen to him because he actually sucks. That's why he's not at ESPN. But the thing is, his big thing was, well, you know, like Foster had shoulder injuries, and then Jonathan Allen, well, you know, he had both his shoulders repaired. You know, they were saying that Allen could have been a top 5 pick, but because of the injuries, that he slid down to the 17th overall pick, and Foster slid to 31. Foster slid to 31 because he had an attitude problem at the draft. Or not at the draft, but the combine, and some issues going on there. But, I mean, are we trying to recruit candy stripers and great people, or are we trying to recruit a mean, nasty linebacker? You know, that's the difference. So you have to think of that. And in his big thing, I'm going to read the quote from him. He thinks Alabama players overall are too beat up to go to the NFL. And this is his quote. Alabama is hiding some things, Cowherd said on his radio show after the draft. I'm not saying they're illegal recruiting, but they're covering things. They're covering up injuries. They're covering up players' attitudes. They're trying to polish everything, and it looks all great. Players leave early. Coaches leave. They can't keep an offensive coordinator. The NFL doesn't grade schools, Reese Senior Bowl executive said. Former Cleveland Brown manager Phil Savage told on the 105.5 show on Thursday morning. They don't grade helmets. They don't grade individuals. Whether you're at Alabama or A&M, if you can play, you're going to get evaluated in every aspect and background and to play on the field. Chris Spielman, a Fox Sports analyst, also said he doesn't buy the idea that players are too beat up. He said on Sirius Radio, College Sports Nation, Nick Saban's job is to win for Alabama. Nick Saban's job is not to protect guys for the NFL. Alabama does a fine in getting players drafted in the NFL. If you know you're going to get drafted an Alabama kid, you're going to get a tough kid. You're going to get a kid who understands how to make tough coaching. And you're going to get a kid that knows how to win. Exactly. So it says, so if I'm a GM and I'm one of the scouts and I'd fire him on the spot. Come on, man. Like, you know, that's insane to say that. Dominic also said of SEC Country, I don't believe in all that. I said about Alabama players are going to be banged up. These kids are built. I've drafted kids from Alabama who've held up just fine, so I don't worry about that. I don't mind guys who've been coached hard. He's Mark Dominic is the guy, he's the former Bucks GM. And so everybody, literally everybody, is like refuting what Colin cowturd said. Like everybody. So this guy's a hack. Like, you know, it's even annoying to listen to him talk because I'm like, okay, what program? When's he going to bash Alabama? You know, if you watch this guy, he's just desperate for people to like him or watch his show or get ratings. That's all this guy is. Phil Savage talked about this a little bit. If you took 65 players from any program in the country, there are going to be some that have injuries because that's a rough sport, Savage explained. There is no denying Alabama practices the old-fashioned way. You earn your spot. If you aren't out there, somebody else with a 4- or 5-star recruit is going to take your job. There's a lot of competition within the program at Alabama. So, like, yeah, you're going to have guys that are banged up. You're going to have guys that aren't. But, I mean, football is a brutal sport. You take any program, they're going to have all those guys. Alabama's just in the spotlight a lot. You had the same problem at Florida when they were winning. You had the same problem at Ohio State. All these big programs have these issues. I mean, yeah, you're also going to have some guys that have character issues. You've got, 85 guys on a roster. You're going to have some of that, man. I saw another cool story about Lane Kiffin, Joey Freshwater. Sorry about that. It was a cool story. He's been posting really weird tweets lately. Like one is he put on the other day, if tomato is a fruit, does that mean ketchup is a smoothie? And people are like, is Lane Kiffin losing it? Like, what's the deal here? And they asked him about it. And it kind of has a feel of if you guys watched Saturday Night Live in the 90s about Deep Thoughts by Jack Handey. Go look them up. If you haven't seen Deep Thoughts by Jack Handey, you can look them up on YouTube or whatever. But it's really hilarious. This is the quote that Kiffin was asked because he was asked specifically about a reporter. It said, I was scooping ice cream to raise money for kids' cancer research Saturday, Kiffin told Sports Talk with Bo Mattingly. And one of our board trustees' sons, Chase Mowberry, came with me, and he started saying all these funny jokes, and I was like, they're pretty good. You should be a stand-up comedian or something. He also started putting them on my Twitter. He was like, hey, can I put them on your Twitter and tag myself so people who know who I am and I can get followers off of that? So Kiffin said, yeah, I'll let him do that. Of course, everything, people must think that's a big deal or something's wrong with that. He goes, I was just trying to help a kid out. And he said, I thought they were funny, so I was putting them up on my Twitter. And he was also asked, it was kind of a cool thing, there was a period of time that he was looking to be the offensive coordinator for LSU, which I thought was kind of cool, and work with his old friend at LSU, Ed Orgeron. The guy that talks like this, yeah, we're going to get a good ball team together, and we're going to get an offensive, and we're going to score. I love hearing him talk. He's absolutely hilarious, man. He sounds like a frog. Somebody stepped on a frog, his voice. I can't say much because my voice is messed up right now. But when asked about it point blank, he said, I was tempted, Kiffin said, about being an OC at LSU. I think they're going to win a lot of games and do great things there. They have some great players coming back, especially the running back. There was intrigue there. We've done great things at Alabama and won. We have done these great and unique things with Derrick Henry winning the Heisman and Amari Cooper setting all these records. Derrick Geis easily could win a Heisman. There was some intrigue there, yes. So he did think about it. So it's pretty cool, and it's really, really, really awesome. He was also asked why other coaches can't catch Saban, and he basically said the same thing Barry Switzer said. He out-recruits everybody. He's relentless. It's an every day, every year, all year long thing, whether it's sitting at the house and evaluating film or calling or texting recruits all the time. He's better than anyone in the country when it comes to that, which Saban said. Also a pretty cool deal. I'm sure you guys are well aware, or some of you aren't. Saban just signed an awesome contract. It's an 8-year, $64 million contract with bonuses. This dude is going to walk away so rich, it's not even funny. And he's a competitive guy, so those bonuses fuel him. So it's amazing. Basically, I think in 2017, from what I read, he's going to be getting $11.1 million alone. But if you look, he's outpaid by a lot of other coaches. But look what he's done in the span of 10 years. What other coach has done anything close to what he's done? Maybe Urban Meyer, maybe. But not even close, really. And his record speaks for itself. His record is 119-19. That's phenomenal. So, he's going to keep doing great things. He's going to make money. People are going to complain. Like I've always said, you got two kinds of people in this world. Those that are Bama fans and those that want to be Bama fans. Tide Talk with Paul Webb. I'm out, son.